All right, what's up, everybody? TBOT here with an update on my feedback machine. This is going to be covering version 1.5.3. In this case, I have the hotfix point 1 edition, which is directed directly towards my beta testing team specifically. This may not be released publicly for a minute, but I did want to get this tutorial out here as it's important to update you guys on what I'm doing to this thing. The main things that have been added to this thing also ended up getting broken out into another plugin called TBOT's MasterMod, which will be available for free or for really inexpensive $5 or something on Juicebar very soon. The main thing about the MasterMod plugin is it contains all of the added pre-adjustments that I am adding to the feedback machine here. And the reason that I'm doing that is because my MasterMod contains most of the things that I would have ever changed about any piece of content that I interact with, whether it be a camera or whether it be a piece of content. With that being said, let me show you what the new additions in the feedback machine are here. And this is going to be obviously going off of this ballerina clip here, which I have used in my in some of my promo videos. This is from Storyblocks. If you're looking for this clip, that is where you will find it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just drag my feedback machine right in here onto the clip. And you'll see right off the bat, obviously, because this clip already has a lot of black in it, that it's already working really well. Initially in the feedback machine, I had given you a brightness and contrast in the most recent version. This was useful at a very core level, and this was just kind of a patch fix that I had thrown on top of things. But it doesn't really give me the control that I really want. And I still found myself putting other clips, or rather other pieces of, other effects on top of clips in order to get what I wanted. So this version is based around trying to correct that and making sure that in your adjust first section here that you've got a plethora of different options in order to make different feedback looks from pretty much any piece of content, no longer limiting you to pieces of content that have alpha or black, because you can do a million other things with it now. So everything beyond the adjust first has not changed. So if you are looking to learn how to use this patch from its base, please watch my tutorial on version 1.5, which will cover all of those other parameters. It's an hour long. You may need to scrub through it. I apologize for my rambling about feedback for so long. But without further ado, let me show you what these new adjust first parameters are in order to create even more crazy feedback looks. So we already discussed brightness and contrast is here. That's been given. We've had that for a while. I've also added levels, which allows you to tweak the mid ranges of the clip as well as the low ranges of the clip and set the ratio between those. This gives you a lot more control over the actual brightness of the original clip while still being able to maintain the space for the feedback. In addition, I've also added a threshold, which allows you to create black and white looks from whatever content that you're using. This plus your ads or your levels rather will grant you slightly different looks and allow you to expose a little bit more detail in the clip. You have control over the two different colors that you're using for here, and using this and moving the colors around, you can obviously see how that can be cool with this. Threshold may not be something that you use all the time, but it does allow you to get a little bit more control and kind of dial in the color palette that you're trying to use for a specific artist, right? So we can bring it down like this, and you can adjust those two different colors to get exactly what you want in the moment. Threshold I may not use that much, but I definitely say a couple of our VJs use it a lot, so it's something that I definitely added in. I also added a adjustment for red, green, and blue. This is on the original clip, and this is before any keying happens. Okay, so you can adjust this clip to get the color that you want, and then after this, you can select the keying, if you'd like, and the keying hue in order to figure out where you want to create that transparency within the clip. This may not work on this clip, but this is definitely something that is useful, especially if you have a clip that comes with a green screen background or something else, or some sort of primary color that you would like to turn into feedback This is the way that you would do it, either by adjusting the clip's red, greens, and blues in order to achieve the color that you want, and then keying it out, or whatever. Maybe you just key it out without adjusting that color. Fine. Very powerful stuff, super useful, again, for exposing transparency. This is going to be a winner if you're trying to expose transparency in your clip before you actually get it to the feedback machine. That way you expose more feedback. After that, you have a post-key colorization. When it's set to white, obviously it's just going to pull the color out, but this basically is just to colorize as well as a contrast for that colorization, so that you can kind of do this without having to manually drag this onto a clip. This is something that I personally used all the time, and it's nice to be able to just select a color without having to drag a colorize into the clip beforehand. And you also have, of course, the ability to invert that color, which could be good for a button to clear your feedback and start over, or whatever your wish is. That's pretty much it. Everything else from here on down is identical to version 1.5 that's been released already, 1.5.2 rather, and 1.5.3 is just adding all these additional things to assist in exposing more alpha so that you can get crazier looks out of everything. That pretty much covers it. Again, keep an eye out for my other MasterMod plugin, which will be making its rounds soon. Again, just to give you a quick overview, I've done a tutorial on this, but if I drag the MasterMod in here, let's go ahead and bypass my feedback machine and minimize it. You'll see that the MasterMod contains brightness, levels, threshold, a pre-key, add, subtract, a chroma key, and all the other things that we just discussed, but as an individual plugin. And this is really good for creating presets that have specific brightness, contrast, and color ranges, and things like that. Really nice for cameras and other things. But again, it is baked right into the feedback machine in the adjust first section. So if you have my feedback machine, you do not need to drag the MasterMod in first. I wanted to keep the feedback machine as straightforward as possible. But if you do come across my MasterMod, I do highly suggest you get your hands on it. It's useful. And when stacked in addition to the feedback machine, it actually does give you a little bit more control over what you're doing here. Obviously, you have your brightness and your contrast and your levels just like you did in the other one. But something about it, maybe you want it. So there you go. That covers my update tutorial on version 1.5.3, possibly 1.5.4. We will see which one gets released to Juicebar. But yeah, there you go, guys. Enjoy.